We're here to see Michael Smith. MassCann NORML. And unfortunately, his Health and Substance Abuse Committee didn't get assigned the medical bill this time around. It did last time, and they actually passed it. So for that, we want to thank Senator Tisei. It's very, very great. Unfortunately, this year it's going to the Public Committee, Joint Committee on Public Health, which he's not on. But he's a very influential person, being, of course, the minority leader for the Senate. And we're hoping that he can use his influence. I was just mentioning to some of the folks that I'm traveling with here that this has not been a strong issue for the Republican Party. And unfortunately, I think part of it has to do with the perception that marijuana use is a radical or liberal or a hippie issue. And really, the medical application of marijuana has nothing at all to do with the culture of the party. It's not a conservative issue or a liberal issue. For instance, my mom, who is not even a Nixon Republican, she's a Goldwater Republican, so dyed in the wool that she would never, she hates Democrats no matter what. And yet she had breast cancer and went through chemotherapy and needed marijuana and tried it. Was told by her doctor that it might be effective for her, controlling nausea. Hated the idea of it, but was forced into a situation where it was either try it or suffer.
And if she was in this state, she was breaking the law.
She was in Connecticut, so she was breaking the law indeed. And luckily, she had a son who, knows how to view these things.
And that caused no small amount of stress, having her son have to go out and buy marijuana.
I'm sure she hated that.
Yes, I went through the same thing. It's enormous stress on people who are getting it for.
Doing MS. Well, the only thing that's harder than having those problems is having those problems and getting arrested for taking your doctor's advice. Because we know doctors all over Massachusetts are telling patients, you may not find palliative relief from this pharmaceutical product, but if it doesn't work for you, you might want to try marijuana. And then, of course, the patient says, okay, well, doc, where can I get it? And the doctor says, you can't. So we'd like to see that situation change, and so would all of the rest of Massachusetts. We've run 13 medical marijuana public policy questions in local senatorial and local representative districts around the state. And the result is always the same. They always pass. They always pass with at least two to one. At least twice as many people voting for it as voting against it. And the average is 69% in favor. Although Suffolk University just did a poll of likely voters in September of this year, just a couple of months ago, and they showed 81% support. And I can't think of any issue that the legislature can consider that has 81% of support from the public.
And people over 65 are at 86%.
That's right. This is outrageously high. I mean, if you wanted to ally yourself with a cause and pull in a strong constituency and find support among people, as I think the Republicans need to do, I think that this issue would be a prime issue for the Republican Party to take on and pull in the popular support that they need. So here are the results from those polls, but they average 69% in favor. Some people might say, oh, well, this is a very radical idea, but it's not. Many other states have passed marijuana laws, medical marijuana laws, including Massachusetts. We actually have 2 medical marijuana laws here that were signed by a Republican governor. Governor Weld signed 2 medical marijuana bills. Unfortunately, they depended on a supply of marijuana from the federal government, which the federal government never provided. Since then, we've had 13 other states that have passed medical marijuana bills that allow patients to grow their own marijuana, or allows them to assign a caregiver to grow their marijuana for them. And that's what we'd like to see happen here in Massachusetts.
Autoimmune thing. Well, if you were to read some of the research that they've done on marijuana in the last 3 years, you'll see that they think it may be getting at the root cause of some autoimmune disease. And one other thing, October 4th, my mother-in-law died. I was her primary caregiver, had Alzheimer's. Went to all the doctors with her, and then sat by her bedside for 2 months and watched her die in agony. She what happens, people should actually go to the bedside of someone who's dying and can't get the proper pain medication, because you'd never be the same after that. You know, she relived, she had a childhood trauma as a kid. She saw a little girl burned to death. She never spoke of that to anybody, but her last conscious moments was reliving that.
Because she was in so much pain. She was
in so much pain, and she was so frightened, you know, and so, and plus, not to say that there's a lot of hopeful research. My degree's in pharmacy, so I love to read this kind of research about drugs and that sort of thing, and I just, there's a lot of hopefulness around Alzheimer's disease itself, you know, helping people with their cognition, helping them, you know, so I just, you know, I mean, I don't use medical marijuana. I would love to. I'm in pain every day of my life. I have to push myself to go out and get exercise. Okay? Why? Because of political silliness, I think. I am denied this. I should say, not say.
We can make a stronger case or change it in some way.
No, I'm sure you guys are aware of the 7 News Suffolk University poll released September 23rd.
We don't really pay attention to polls that often. I'm sure that it was favorable, though.
81%.
Yeah. You know, I think that it is a variety of these things. A lot of the legislators here, Ellen's not encumbered by this, but many of them are. Is that they don't want to be perceived as, you know, soft on crime. Yeah. And that's a challenge for us. We have to show that this is that fear is not applicable to this issue. But it's an uphill battle. So.
See, if the poll was if the telephone poll of Suffolk had only been, you know, 55%, I'd say, yeah, poo-poo the poll. But when you actually go and look at the splits on that, medical marijuana is more favorable amongst those over 65 than any other age group.
That's surprising. We should let people know that.
It's an increasing trend.
It's important.
You know, another thing I think that people aren't aware of, I'm a medical user, I'm using it, you know. I think a lot of medical users are just using it no matter, you know, whether it's legal or not. But it's things that happen to people because of their use. Even with decrim, you know, what I'm hearing from is people on disability being denied disability claims, care, liver transplants, VA care after serving their country because they use medical marijuana. And I think that...
Life insurance too.
Life insurance.
Happened to me 3 times because 3 different companies wouldn't issue me life insurance because I used marijuana medically. And I finally did find one that did, and I have it now, but at the same time I spend a lot more money than what I should to have my life insurance.
If there's any way
because the facts I know.
Like I think that message is being missed.
KOP, tell me why you came down today.
I came down here to help support the medical marijuana law in Massachusetts, to help talk to the legislatures and tell them the truth, not the lies, the truth of what's going on with medical marijuana and why we need a medical marijuana bill in Boston, Massachusetts. And I think we had a good day. We even went into the governor's office and spoke to one of the aides about it to see if we get any response from the governor. We went to my state rep, Marcy for Tewksbury, and got kind of a good response from the aide over there. So they're looking at it and they're listening to us. They're not just telling us to get out or like we're a bunch of stoners. We're actually getting some credence. We're getting credence. We're walking into the State House. We've made progress to speak about medical marijuana. That would be unheard of 5 years ago. MassCann has helped put this together. MassCann has helped get the information out. And thank goodness for that, because you need to go to these websites. You need to know what's going on. And the way you can find all that out is by going to MyCann.net and the upcoming KOPproductions.com. But listen, to really help the movement is to get up off the couch and to come out and help us. We can do only so much, but in numbers we can do more. So we can get more people to commit to come to these things. You go to Mike Cann's blog every day. He lets you know what's going on here. He lets you know when the meetings are coming up. Instead of just emailing them back and saying you'll be there, why don't you really be there? Because the more support we have and the more people we have walking through these lobbies, the more credence we're going to get, and we're going to get this passed. And let's hope it will happen someday.